Okay, so feeling better. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Caroline. How are you? Hope the day is treating you well. The weather here is beautiful. I was out fishing this morning, and I didn't catch anything, but, I have hope. Eventually, I will catch that fish. No fish in particular. Actually, I don't really care if I catch a fish. I just like to go fishing for the sake of fishing. But that's not what I want to talk about. Okay, so you want to be another one of those folks who couch this war in Iraq in religious terms. You want to be one of those people who takes on, and again, you're taking on a mantle. You take on a mantle of somebody who actually has the ear of God, which I think is interesting. Not surprising, but interesting. So God is on our side. I've heard this before. I've heard this since the beginning of the war. Actually, I heard it before the war. I grew up in an area where this kind of mentality is fairly prominent. Rural areas, regardless of geography, north, south, east, west, kind of have that in common. Don't they? That small town, Americana, God and church, and, if you don't love it, leave it kind of mentality. These are the kind of people who will, wave flags, who will put bumper stickers on their car, but they won't do a single damn thing to actually help people. But as long as they have their bumper sticker and they say praise Jesus, somehow they've got all their bases covered. They got their church covered, so they're going to heaven, and they got their patriotism covered so that no one thinks they're a bad American. Come on. Give us some credit. Now, I know that there are people out there who think like you. The space between California and New York is vast. Huge. And I'm from that vast area. I understand that there's a lot of these little small towns, and they're very conservative, and they're very close-minded, and they're a whole lot like you. But majority does not make right. I don't even think it's a majority. I think that you have, maybe at one point in time you were in the majority, but now, yoke up, Jeff and Caroline, you are in the minority. But somehow both of those kind of feed your need, don't they? Because if you're in the majority, that means that God has blessed you, that you are right with God. If you're in the minority, that means that you're being persecuted and being tested. So either way, you win. Isn't that great? Praise Jeebus. Drinking V8. Still trying to get over this flu. I don't know, Yoke, do you think that God gave me the flu? Because I decided that I'm going to do this with you at least on a weekly basis until you block me. And to be honest, if you block me, I'll just sign up for another account. So, because I've decided that you are my mission, Jeff. You and Caroline are my mission. Because you people represent everything that is keeping America from moving forward. And you talk about the war. I support the troops. I disagree with the war. I have always disagreed with the war. But here's the thing. People in the military have a hard fucking job. They have the hardest job in the world. And they follow orders. That's part of the culture. I have students who are in ROTC, who are in the military track, and I'm very honest and respectful with them. And actually, they appreciate that. There are some people who are anti-war who take, I think, a very extreme approach. Part of the reason for my approach is because my father was a 20-year veteran in 2 wars. He served in Korea and he served in Vietnam. 2 wars. And he wasn't one of those flag-waving, bumper sticker, play patriot motherfuckers. No, he didn't need to show a flag to be a patriot. He didn't need to do any of that because it was part of who he was. Okay? And so, I salute the flag, and I say the Pledge of Allegiance, and I take my hat off at baseball games because to me, that's important. And I also vote. Yeah, people like me are not disenfranchised, and we vote. And here's the thing. We're not going away. And you can't stamp this war with God's divine approval, which, by the way, you don't have. I defy you to show me biblically where you can see where this war is at all divine. Because why? America is God's chosen people? Really? And are you going to do the whole fill in the blank thing? Because there's a kind of theology where they say, well, it used to be Israel and Jerusalem, and now it's America. It's this revisionist theology. Is that what you're saying? That all those parts in the Bible where it talks about, God backing Jerusalem and God supporting the Israelites, are you really one of those people who says that America is the new Israel? Are you really one of those people? Because if you are, then you can throw 10,000 verses at me, which you have a tendency to do, but none of them actually apply to this situation. This war is not a divine war. There's nothing holy about occupying a country and putting people in harm's way so that oil companies can make record profits. And if you think that that's not part of the equation, then you are not only scripturally naive, then you're just naive in general. And I'm talking in this sort of tone because I know that you're not going to have the balls to say anything back, because that you've shown a clear lack of strength, a clear lack of courage. You talk to people who think like you, who act like you, who talk like you, and somehow that vindicates your experience. But you will not talk to me, just like you've decided not to talk to Bella, just like you lock out everybody who dares question and then after your response dares to question again. You haven't got the wherewithal to deal with people like me. And I'm telling you that this war is not divine. There's no such thing as a divine war. Unless, of course, your divinity is about power. And if that's the case, then sure, it's a divine war. Sure, God is on our side. If God is a half-ignorant, former drunken autocrat, you amuse me. See, I don't even consider this like an equal discussion. And I don't think of myself as an especially like overly intelligent person. I think I pay attention to details. And I think that that my life has shown me a certain layer of things that eventually one day will lead me to truth. Maybe. But this discussion, well, actually, it's not really a discussion because you're not going to talk back. You sanctimonious fuck. This discussion is not equal. We are not equally yoked because you are clearly an idiot and you mistake supporting the troops with supporting the war. Go ahead and support the troops. They are put in harm's way for an unjust reason. They are good people, many of them, who are given guns, who were sent to an area of the world where they don't belong, to defend things that none of us are actually sure what the hell it is they're defending. They're defending us, our freedom. Iraq never attacked us, Jeff. Get a clue. You talk about Al-Qaeda in Iraq. Okay, they weren't there before we got there. We are spurring on terrorism in the world because every time that civilians die, it doesn't matter whether we're responsible or not. Every time civilians die, we get blamed. The more oil that gets pumped out and the more those revenues don't go to the provinces in Iraq, we get blamed. And you know what? Maybe we should get blamed. These things that are done in our name are absolutely ridiculous. And people like you will keep it coming because you have some ridiculous notion that all of this is the will of God and all of this will lead to Armageddon. You think I don't know what you're thinking? Come on. Tool. Have a nice day. I didn't pick on you.